Hello, soul friends. This is Mary, and welcome back to my channel. Today's pick a card reading is going to be all about painful memories. I know. Hey, it's your guides, not mine. Once again, this is their idea. You guys won't give me ideas. I got to get them from your guides because I don't have my own. So, painful memories. What's a painful memory that's affecting you right now that your guides want to point out to you to help you grow? I guess I don't know how I'm going to write that down. It's a terrible topic title, but it's what your guides want to talk about. So let's go ahead and pre-shuffle some oracle cards for you. Remember, no matter your individual beliefs, tarot or oracle reading is your spirit guides coming forward to give you advice, or just simply your subconscious mind helping you answer life's ponders. No matter how you look at that, it's healthy and you're in the right place. Painful memories. This topic idea from your guides came in because I'm dealing with... Actually, I don't know if I am or not. I have my sister very kindly mailed me my baby book that she's had since my father passed away in like 2018, and she finally mailed it to me after much bugging. Thank you, Booger. I can call her that. None of you can, or I'll kick your booty after school today. Anyway, my sissy Booger, who doesn't usually watch this show, so we probably don't need to worry about it, sent me my baby book, and I haven't opened it yet, and I'm scared to open it. Isn't that funny? I'm worried that there's going to be a trigger in there somewhere, and it'll make me so sad. So we're going to look at some of your memories and see what is hanging you up in the memory department, my soul friends, because my guides just... If there's something going on with me, then they channel that into something that's going on with you. Facts. Oh, and I forgot to show the cards that we will be using. So, man, the intro is going to be all screwed up. My bad. My fumbles. But that's okay. Because, like, whenever I'm watching pick a card readings, or any YouTube for that matter, I don't usually sit there and worry about, like, oh, did I watch the intro right? And you guys probably don't worry about that stuff either, do ya? Yeah, bet you don't. Okay. So today we shall be using, for our oracle cards, these wonderful little decks. And then, oh my word. Do you love how organized I am? Okay, so those are the oracle decks we will be using today. And then for your tarot, we will be using the Tarot of Modern Love. All right. With a very modern couple on the, I don't know. People say modern, but I don't know so much. That kind of coupling is what I would consider modern anymore. I feel like people have been coupling up that way for probably as long as people have been in existence together. Look how pretty those cards are. Isn't that such a pretty deck? That the use of a light, those candles just look like they're really glowing, don't they? All right, what are we going to use here for rocks? Let's go with... Oh, okay. A pendulum for group 1. Interesting. I wonder what that's all about, because that was your guides, not me. Group 2. Let's have you be the clear quartz crystal. I just love clear quartz. I'm wearing a chunk of it today as well. I like the way it makes rainbows. I like the way it sets fires. I like the way that it makes me feel. It makes me feel like a kid back in the 80s. Do you guys remember the 80s? Group 3, you're going to be this little Dalmatian Jasper heart. Anyway, back in the dizzy, clear quartz was something that I associated with magic. A magic crystal, right? Little kids love crystals because they're magic. That was where that all came from. And so I feel like maybe some of you might have had some magical feelings as children. Okay, group 4, you're going to be the coffin nail pendulum. Isn't that interesting how all your little charms work? Ooh. Okay, group 4. You got some spicy guides in group 4. So if that helps lead you, then go for it. All right. All right. Painful childhood memories or just painful memories, something that's affecting you from your past today and how to get through it. And we will see you in your individual readings. Woo! Bye-bye-bye-bye-bye! Hi, group 1. So if you pick the stainless steel pendulum, interesting. There's messages in the charms your guides got for you today. So if you watched the intro very much, you will notice that I'm not very picky about what I use for my rocks and bracelets and things that we use, charms that we use to pick your piles. But stainless steel is all about strength, baby. Strength and innovation. And I'm going to throw this out there. It's a little bit primitive. It's like modern meets primitive. It's interesting because we're using the Modern Love Tarot today for your tarot cards. Everything seems to be really synchronizing in a way that I'm actually noticing. And for somebody that has a very, a monkeyish brain, I just feel a lot of activity. And I feel this other thing too. There's this thing about February, okay? I'm just gonna narc on myself because there's always weird messages and these weird things that pop up where I start to relate to you guys in the readings, and that's weird because you guys aren't here with me. But you know, it's so weird. I don't know if anybody could ever get used to doing this kind of deal where you do readings for strangers and pick a card. Part of why that's the only reason why I do it. Because like if somebody else already had an idea, I'm not going to do that idea because they already did it, so it can't be cool now, right? Like that kind of thing. And I mean, if there's anything that there's a lot of out there, there's pick a card readings. But part of why I started doing it was because I still find so much comfort in watching them myself. The spirits that come through, that's the thing that is so cool to me, is that like the spirits use it so hard. And I think that's why it's so popular. And I think that's why so many of us watch them and so many of us do them, is because we feel that spiritual activity. It's like, you know, those like old movie scenes where they're showing like the inside of like a computer, or even just the inside of a chip in a computer. And it reminds me a lot of like an Asher cut stone. I don't know if you can see. Do you see like the hard straight lines in this stone? Does it remind you of little parts in computers, like a little chip in a computer? That's why I love Asher cut stones, is because they look like a computer part to me, but then they're in a magical stone. Which I find stones to be so magical. I can't use herbs. I can't use things like that as much until I cure myself, right? But like, because I have so many allergic reactions to natural things, but like stones, I don't have a problem with. And so like I play around with them quite a bit and I feel the power coming off of them. I feel the same way about fire. I'm trying to work on my relationship to water. I'm a water sign and my relationship with water sucks. I don't hate it. I'm not scared of it. At least I don't think I am until, like, it's the same thing with heights, right? You know, like, I'm not scared of them until you're up there, and then you're like, just kidding, I'm scared of heights, right? I can get like that. I don't get scared of heights when I just think about it. Does that help with the level of fear that I feel, right? But you know, if I'm up on a ladder and then I have to grab a little tiny part like this little pendulum off of a roof, and the roof is slanted, well, then the heights start to be scary, right? I can think about being up on a mountain all day and feel fine. I know there's people out there that feel scared of just thinking about being up on the mountain, right? Like, people can watch car accidents on TV all day. I can too, until I see it from the inside of the car. Then I'm not okay anymore. Do you see how that works? I don't know why I'm talking about this. It's like, okay. And I don't know why this is all coming together the way it is. I'm just going to go with the message that I'm getting here. Good grief. I sound like a crazy person. I feel like one too. It's February while I'm filming this. I hate romance and I hate February. And here's the thing. I don't hate romance. I really don't. I'm a romantic guy. Right? My students used to always get so like weirded out when I would say, I'm a reasonable fellow. I would say that and they would freak out because it sounds male and I guess I look female to them. What gave me away? Was it the girly stuff? Was it the dress? Because I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean, right? People are funny with me about how I deal with my gender, and I don't know I'm really small. And generally people don't mistake me for being male, but at the same time, I've had moments where people have, in a way, like little kids are like, are you a boy or a girl? And I'm like, that's an interesting question. What do you think? They're like, you look like a girl. I'm like, okay, I like how you're starting this conversation. Because as most people who identify as female, you don't usually want people to mistake you as something besides female. Okay? It's a thing. And so anyway, there's something about... So in February, that's when I start seeing a lot of people get excited for love. Okay. And that's when I bristle because I don't like romance. And it's not that I don't like love and that I don't believe in true love, because clearly I do. I feel like I found it with my partner, my hetero life mate, Mr. John, who lives in the basement. Okay. But, 25 years, I feel like I still really like him. And, I feel like I made the right decision still. So, I'm in love with him still. Right? Gross. So it's not like I'm knocking on love. I'm really not. When I'm like, ew, gross. My whole deal is that I don't like people to wrap all their happiness into one idea. It's like, I could get after you even more if you're like, man, as soon as I get that one perfect group of friends, or as soon as I get that one perfect career, I guess I could lecture that more. I just don't see people pining after those things as much as I see them pining after love as much. I also don't see them romanticizing and idealizing those other things. And that's crazy, because you can idealize and romanticize the heck out of those other things. But I see people doing it with that idea. And it's because of movies, guys. And I love movies. I love movies. But it's because of movies and novels that we got that, but movies made it worse. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it. In my opinion, on my channel, movies are the ones that are to more blame for our unrealistic expectations that we have around love. Whew. Okay. So it's not love that I have an issue with, children. It's the unrealistic expectations, right? And I'm just kidding calling you children. It's because I used to be a teacher, but I taught older kids. So I'd be like, okay, kiddos. But I would never call them that for real, because that would be very insulting to a teenager, because they are adults. They will tell you. And they do adult things. So you can believe them a little bit. So anyway, if I ever talk to you in a condescending tone, it's because I'm being a smart aleck, or I'm being sarcastic, which goes along with being a smart aleck, or I'm going into teacher mode because I'm talking to an audience, and so that just automatically happens. And why am I apologizing? You guys you're either in this because you're in it to win it because you've been coming here for a while, or you're curious enough that you're going to stick around, or you are hate watching because you're like, I can't stand this chick. And here we go. I'm going to hate watch some Miriam today. I love to hate watch stuff. I hate watch movies with Mr. John. So anyway, Mr. John got his name from the students calling him Mr. John. Yep. He got his own name. We are not we're, Miss my last name and then Mr. John. It's very strange. So anyway, back to your symbol, your pendulum. Okay, so it's February. I was talking about how I can't stand romance in Valentine's Day. Not so much the actual romance and the love part, but the pining for it and thinking that that's what you need to be happy. So I feel like there might be somebody around you that's super excited in a way that kind of makes you want to puke a little bit, some of you, because I feel like some of you are a little bit harder. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. Harder nosed and stronger. And I feel like that's why you might have gone with the steel pendulum, or this might be some more just hints that you're in the right pile, because the pendulum that's made out of steel, I got it so it won't flip and break, because you can see I've already dropped it twice since we've been talking. I like to drop them in my little lap when I'm doing my little readings here with clients, and then I forget and I stand up to go stretch or go use the bathroom or go get some coffee, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, my pendulum just clatters to the floor and scares the heck out of the cats. And if it's a crystal pendulum, it usually breaks. The tip will break. So I feel like you have no nonsense in your mind, which sucks that I'm rambling like this, because if you're in the right pile, you probably can't stand ramblers. Sorry, guys. But I've got that hard nose, no nonsense, steal yourself kind of feeling. You might also like Hershey Kisses, because these remind me of Hershey Kisses with the foil on them. But you might not like romance. You might be kind of irritated. I feel like what's going on with you more right now. Okay, and this is about memories, and a lot of this could be painful childhood memories, because I was I'm putting off reading my baby book by doing this video, because it's going to be emotional for me. There's people in that book that are dead. You know what I mean? I gotta look at them holding me when I was a baby now. It's hard. I can't do it. I haven't looked at that thing in decades. I have no idea what I'm gonna find in there. And there's probably not even that much in there, because I'm the second to youngest. You know, parents just stop giving a crap about filling out baby books the further down the line of kids they have. As they're like, this isn't as exciting as that first kid was. Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's just the way it is. So anyway, there's probably not that much in there, but I bet you I'm going to cry still. So I'm putting off these memories. I feel like with you, the painful memory, part of what's coming through for this group to confirm if you're in the right room, is this kind of this stoic irritation towards people when they get carried away emotionally. So I see you getting bristling and getting irritated when you see a little group, even if you're female, seeing a little female group of girls sitting and twittering. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they they giggle and they get carried away and they tee. My cats are getting annoyed, me just freaking doing that. I'm getting annoyed just doing it. I remember getting annoyed when I'd see girls doing it when I was in high school, and I'd want to be like, girls, knock it off. But then I'd be like, you can't gender shame them just because they're twittering like little teenage girls do, right? And so it's oh my gosh, get it together, Miriam. This is about you, not them, right? Ugh, rough. I feel that coming off of you. I feel like maybe there's a lot of people excited around you. Maybe people in some cases in this group do have people excited around you because it's Valentine's Day and you want to flip and puke. Okay. And I feel like part of the memory for some, not all, and this is a complicated group. So of course this is going to be a friggin' hour-and-a-half long pile. And then by the time I get to group 4, I'm not going to want to do it anymore. Anyway, do this 5 days in a row. It's this sense of maybe back for some of you, you were the twittering kid. The excited one, the one that was excited for Valentine's Day. Maybe you were just excited for it last year, and now this year you're F Valentine's Day. Do you just see what I'm saying? That's what I'm feeling from you, this hard, maybe newly hard reaction to sentiment and getting carried away. I can relate to that. If I see a group of people that are or I stay the heck away from that group. I am not getting caught up, because I know that those people that are doing that right there, they might as well be drunk because they're caught up. You know what's even worse is when they're doing that and then they add alcohol to it and it gets even worse. So anyway, I relate to that. I feel that as well. This like cutting away from the herd. F everybody. I don't want to deal with their S. I like you already, group one. Yes, I do. All right, enough jibber jabbing. Let's get into your cards. Yeah, into your arms. Some of you have lost everything, I feel like, in this group. Some of you, if you didn't lose everything, you either recently lost one of the most important things to you, or something that was really ideal for you came to a very bitter end, almost to the point where like you can't even like weep and feel sorry for it because you're like, that's that hard. Oh my gosh, how do I even explain that even more without sounding like morbid and gruesome? Hopefully the people whose group this isn't as have left by now, because I feel like only the people in group one would understand what I'm about to say. It's like this, you know when like you're watching a movie and somebody just gets like obliterated, like unalived, but it's like an action movie, so like you're not supposed to take it that seriously like you would normally take it seriously if you watched that happen in real life, right? And it's funny. I'm not saying that you guys are laughing, but I'm saying that like it's something that's so abrupt and catastrophic in the sense of what I feel like you've lost or whatever has caused this painful memory for you, that like there's not even any words or appropriate reaction for it. So like some people might laugh, some people might flip out and cry, some people might go stoic and quiet and not, there's nothing left to say. You know, like it's that horrible, there's nothing left to say. Like there's no word for parents who've lost a child because that's just too horrible, right? Because you have orphans for parents and widower for losing your spouse, but there's no word for a parent who's lost a child. And because people think that's just too horrible, maybe. I've heard people say that. Okay. And so, and they're holding a baby, and there's like an owl which can be connected to death into your arms. And it's like this idea of like, I feel like lost love, lost family, lost children, lost most important thing to you. So even if it wasn't like your child that you lost, like, you know, I don't think it wasn't the most important thing to me, but like my career was super important to me when I lost it. It was definitely top 3, you know? And when I lost that, it was like, what the hell is my purpose then? What was the point of all this then? God, you know, like that whole thing started, right? I'm still going through it. It's been 2 years. Well, I guess I'm in year 2, right? And so, you know, y'all are meeting me at a very strange time. Like I started doing these videos back during the lockdowns. And then continued kind of doing them in between working full time and being very, very sick. And now I'm at home full time and being very, very sick. And so it's like, y'all aren't getting me in my prime. I don't know if I ever had a prime. Did I even get a prime? Have you guys ever had a prime? Right? I feel like you had a prime in some point, or that this situation felt prime, and then it was taken away. And that obliteration changed you, right? And that memory of it, it was like so good, it's like it hurts to look back on it because it was so good, right? I almost can flash into this idea of when something's going so well and you catch yourself enjoying it so much, and then you think, oh my gosh, this is temporary. There's that, even like something that good too, like a moment. Even it could have just been a moment, like a memory of this like thing that could have been that maybe wasn't, or something that was almost there and then it was lost. And now I'm like grabbing this little owl, and there's an owl right there. And this owl is like, its eye was staring at me a second ago. See how its eyes are kind of different? Like this eye sticks out a little bit further than this eye. I don't know if you can tell from the camera. It's like it's bigger or off a little bit, right? Like everybody's eyes are off a little bit. If they were symmetrical, we would look odd. this like wisdom, this inability to unsee something. You've seen what you've seen. You can't go back to how it was before. That's really heavy memory stuff. Life changing, something, a watershed moment. I hate that phrase only because they used it in college all the time, but they never explained what it meant. Have any of you guys gone to college? And when you get there, everybody starts just using the vernacular or the lexicon or the semantics of that particular field, right? So like, for example, team meetings in school, if you're in education, they call that professional development. I know they call that in some other fields, right? They also have other stupid things like most careers have the word matrix used in it in some way, but we all use it differently. And every time you go and sit down, you get these words thrown at you that you're like, I've never even heard that used in life before, but here we are and everybody's acting like they know what it means. So I'm going to pretend like I know what it means, even though I kind of don't know what it means yet. I know what the definition of the word is, right? But what the heck are they talking about, right? And nobody else is acting like they don't know what's going on, and everybody's acting like you got there late and maybe you should have already known what these were. Have you ever been through that? It's like this weird, overwhelming world of like a whole different vocabulary gets thrown around, and you kind of had to like stair step your way through it. Your guides just wanted me to throw there in there and tell you that nobody knows. The people that acted like they already knew what that word was and that they already know what it meant and everything, nobody knows. They just all are doing the same thing that you were doing of like, I better pretend like I know. Does that make sense? That I don't even understand where that came into my head. Okay, I'm sorry. Something idolized that is now gone. It feels very heavy. And it feels like whatever ended, like, changed you to the point where you had to, like, almost become, like, this whole other person. Oof. And owls stand for death in some cultures. Yeah, the ending that opens the space for the beginning. So, like, this was meant to happen to you. This memory, why it haunts you, what about it haunts you, why it would haunt anyone, why it would change anyone. All that. And so you're still kind of like, where do I go from here, maybe? Let's keep going. Yeah, making realizations about yourself, about life. I feel so much maturity coming through for you, but it's like that maturity of, I had no choice. I had to do it this way. It was hard. War wounds, wounded warrior, wounded healer. The sky saying something to me there. Might look like a sky that you saw once that sticks into your memory. The balloon too is like that childhood feeling, but they're like embarking onto something bigger and then like realizing it's like so big that like I can't shape the details of it. And that's okay, probably, because you all know what it is that you've been through. I probably don't need to be going into that much depth. Okay. Let's keep going. We have cinnamon rolls. Oh God, I miss cinnamon. Number 14, warm my heart, all deserving comfort, readies my heart. My mom and grandma and sisters who learned how to do it make the best cinnamon rolls. Like, have you ever been to like one of those fancy cinnamon places, right? Everyone's like, oh, I love cinnamon or whatever. Like, be pleased. Like, that's what I'm going to say. Like, I've had so many cinnamon rolls over the course of my life before I became reactive to cinnamon, okay, that I can tell you right now this is a message from like the gods. My mom and grandma and sisters made the best cinnamon rolls. I don't even know what their recipe is. I never attempted it, and now I can't have cinnamon, so who cares? But every cinnamon roll I've had besides theirs was disappointing. And that number 14 sticking out to me. We also have 41 over here, 45 over here. I think this one's 43. Yep. I feel like a little blackbird, I think that is, or a crow, I'm not sure. That idea of, did you ever see Driving Miss Daisy, where they're talking about their Idella passes away, and they talk about how, like, you can make her fried chicken, or we both can make her fried chicken, and I can make her biscuits, but nobody can make her coffee. And they just both get sad over their coffee, and they're like, yep, nobody can make Idella's coffee. We'll never have that good coffee again. We already had the best coffee, and the producer of the best coffee is now gone. Does that make sense? That ties back to that big loss, that big memory loss of like losing everything. I feel like for some, I just heard the word mother. Like some of you might have lost your mother when you were a kid. Maybe she was a baker. Maybe she was one of those like fairy tale ideal moms, you know, where like all your memories of her, she's like bustling around doing whatever a storybook mom would be doing in your imagination. That's going to look different for everyone. Like for me, it would be like I don't know, this is so terrible, but I don't see it as terrible because I believe in so much about the hearth and the home that like I admire and love like homemakers, like men and women who stay at home and take care of the home as like their whole hobby. And here I am forced to be at home, right? I work at home, but like I'm forced to be at home. It's what I have to do. And do I do that cool? Do I step into that cool role and become that cool housewife? No. You can ask Mr. John. He would probably laugh and tell you, no, I still cook and clean more than she does, and she sucks. Like, I do. Like, that was a fantasy I had, and now I'm at home living that fantasy, and I'm like, well, I want to find a way to screw this up. So, like, anyway, that kind of like cookie cutter mom vibe could have been an ideal mom figure that you had who passed away before you got to really see that she wasn't so perfect. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying she wasn't perfect. I'm just saying, you know, like that idealized childhood memory of that time. I'm also hearing a guide say somebody had the fantasy of having that life and they couldn't ever get it. Oh, I can relate to that. Because remember I was talking about wanting that fantasy. I'm as close to it as I could possibly get. I work at home. I have a big house. I have cats. I have stupid stuff, right? And what do? I sit around and I complain about everything, you know, and about my other career ending and blah, blah, blah. And there would have been plenty of times when I was a teacher, let me tell you, that I was very excited to love the idea of being a stay-at-home person. And here I am, and I'll still complain. So it's like, for some of you, it's that idealized, you know, picture of something. And because it was taken away so early, it stayed idolized. Like, for example, you know, if you meet a person who, you know, they met their true love when they were like 18 years old, and it was like their first love, and that person loved them back. And there was no cheating or BS. It was just that pure Twitter-pated puppy dog love for each other. And then one of them gets killed in a car accident. Well, what happens to the other one? Right? It's different than if they would have spent 25 years together and then that person passed away and the other one's left behind. It's a totally different grieving process. And that person is going to live life differently as they move forward for each of those scenarios. So like for some of you, I feel like there was this like idealized scenario that was taken away so early on that there's no way to see it but idealized. Like you might even be so realistic that you can sit there and be like, yeah, obviously nobody's perfect. We would have had problems. We could have broken up down the road. Something could have happened, right? To make it all different. You know, she could have been the ideal mom could have ended up being, some kind of a terrible mom in some way, but in that memory, because it never got to go any further than that, it's so idolized, right? It could be that it never existed in the first place. And so you saw other people engaging in what looked like this, whether in books or movies, or it could have just been in real life, just you only see the parts that people show you, especially nowadays with social media. All you ever see is everybody's best, right? Unless you have like the people that like to post about their troubles. Then you only see the most extreme, right? But for the most part, people want to look like winners on there, right? So it's like, that kind of thing. It could have been that you idealized something you never had because of, the fact that you're the only, your life is the only one that you see up close, and all those other lives that you see, you're only seeing the best bits. Moving on. Snowflakes number 40. Oh, this says, warm heart, all deserving comfort readies my heart. This says, every moment is a sacred gift, a blessing you shouldn't take for granted. And I feel like for some of you that have lost, there is that sense of like feeling like maybe you didn't enjoy it as well as you should have. There's always going to be that mix of feelings. But the main thing to remember is that if you were there during that whole time, and I know that maybe a lot of you have had this moment where, it's like when you see your child sleeping, right? When they're a baby and you just hold them and cry because you know that like tomorrow they're going to be 25 and a jerk. Not a jerk, but they don't let you cuddle them like that anymore. They don't need you like they used to, right? Those kinds of things. And you became aware of that. You had that realization in the moment. You don't enjoy the moment as much as you would if it feels like it's limitless. But then at the same time, we can't appreciate it as much if we don't realize that it does have its limits and that everything has an expiration date. Everything. Heavy stuff, group 1. Moving on. Serpent number 38. Slither through and out as you shed in preparation for a new beginning. Yep. Major death card vibes, y'all. Big, big, big change memories. So this memory that's like taking focus in this reading, I feel like for a lot of you did happen a long time ago. Not all of you, but for a lot of you. Or it never existed to begin with, which is crazy. I know that's hard to explain. I hope that came through right in the way I was describing that. But it's so big. It's like you had to do this to become who you're going to be. You had to do this to become who you are. You have to do this to become who you're going to be. Yes. Dang alive. My goodness gracious almighty. Fine. Extra reading coming through. This card popped out. This is from this deck right here. You'll get some of these this month, I'm sure. Okay, it says when it comes to the heart, to matters of the heart, there's no right or wrong. Every choice you make expands your understanding of life and love. Okay. Very true. And I think that comes along with the idea of that weird little tangent that I got into about staying in the moment, realizing that things are finite in the moment, and then not enjoying it as much because you know it's going to end, so there's sadness mixed in, or not thinking about it being finite, and so you take it for granted, you know, that push-pull feeling. Your guides are saying to let that go if you're having that with that extra card that popped out there. So take that for what it's worth. Let's get you some tarot. Yes. Feed this along. Empress, yeah, mother vibes for sure. Mother vibes for sure. If you lost your mom before you ever met her, know that she is with you. The Magician. Some of you whose mother, if she did pass before you were born, she passed on magical abilities to you. Some of you also have magical abilities passed down to you from your mother's line. King of Cups. You are headed towards emotional stability. I know it might not feel like it because this is such a heavy, but at the same time, I feel like you know that. Yeah, that you have faith, that you know that this is all part of the journey. Huh. What else, Spirit, do you want to tell group one? Yeah, you take inspiration and you learn the lessons that come through with the hard stuff. And I think that's great. I also think it's cool that the Eight of Swords in this particular case, she's not blindfolded and she has the key to the lock and she's looking forward like she is taking it all in. Like, I feel like you're not going to hold yourself back, that you're not holding yourself back, that any dark memories that you have are also not holding you back. Seven of Cups. There are still plenty of good times to be had, my friends. Balance is coming. Love is coming. Abundance is coming. It might be a little slow for some moving forward, but that is a-okay because you are right on track. And I feel like you know that. And lastly, Five of Swords. Well, now I need a clarifier. Oh my, look at that. Take the now to stop the hurts of the past. That's what I'm getting there. Okay. Oh my. And a new, fresh new start is coming towards you. All right, group one. Well, thank you for, changing my life. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. My friends, we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Hi, group two. So if you picked my favorite clear quartz, let's get into your memory. Oh, yeah. Clear quartz. All right, so we were talking earlier when I was picking out the rocks that clear quartz always makes me think of, like, I'm old. Rainbow Bright was a cartoon we used to watch back in the 80s and 90s. And it was actually more rainbowy, right? than a clear quartz would be, but clear quartzes can create little rainbows. They also can start fires, but anyhow. So I'm sort of seeing this whole, like, kind of sweet and innocent, like, rainbows and bows and unicorns, you know, stuff like that. But at the same time, like, also knows that crystals start fires. So it's like this hard meets soft feeling I'm getting from you already, my group twos. But yeah, maybe just this, like, childhood belief in magic, which I think most kids have. However, I feel like yours was just very potent for you. Like, you just had, like, this, like, you could feel the magic. You might still feel the magic, but it's like this memory part that's coming through for me right now with that clear crystal. I also feel like you figured out that there were ways that you were able to heal people with your magic abilities for some of you, because clear quartz is about healing properties and protection. Okay, other things. Those might be abilities that you realize that you've had or that you had back then, and that might be a memory that you have that's fond. There's just ways to make sure that you're in the right group. Okay, let's look at your oracle cards. We have, what did we lose? Some of you might have literally lost something down a well when you were little. But that's just another little confirmation for some that you're in the right place. Okay. Some of you might have grown up on farm or country, you know, living where you have older buildings around, like old cabins, old wells. Oh, some of you might be 42 years old. That just came through because of the 42 on the card. Some of you might have lived in a house that was built in 42. The well might have been built in 42. 28, when all seems ended. I feel like somebody from your memories, for some of you, that was the hair color that they had. Like somebody older, like a woman in your life who had like kind of like silvery dark hair like that. Very pretty. And that like their hair stayed that color. Like that was the color their hair was, like in all your memories of them. I just heard somebody lost an heirloom. That tied into that. They lost something down the well. Let's see what else is going on. Ooh, 33. The return of the lost selves. Interesting. Excuse me. For some of you, I feel like if there was a person in your life who had hair like that passed away, they are the ones speaking to you mostly now, if that's the group that you're in within this group. And so they're returning something to them. That guide could just be trying to help you find that lost heirloom if you were somebody who lost your heirloom. And then the lost heirloom also has a weird metaphorical meaning to me that's coming through, this idea of losing sight of your birthright. And your guide that's coming through with the hair, whether you remember that person or guide or not, is trying to help you remember who you are in the metaphorical sense. Interesting. Okay. Moving right along. But yeah, you're on the verge of finding something. Other memory stuff, Spirit, before I move on? So for some of you, it's a lost object. For some of you, it's like a lost identity or a lost ability or a lost skill or unknown. Just notice that's a bicycle. I keep getting like visions of kids riding their bikes. Like if you were a kid in the 1900s, like you rode a bike, you know what I mean? Like that's just a thing. I don't even know if kids ride bikes anymore. I did see one on a bike the other day on their phone, and I was like, that's hilarious. Not funny, haha, funny, weird. It didn't look like he was very steady. Okay, moving along. So if it's a lost object, I feel like you're going to find it. If it's a lost identity or ability, you're definitely going to find it. Okay, we're moving on. Let's see here. We have, I know I'm going to say that wrong. I know you don't say it, Bridget. I think it's like Brie, or pronounced in some weird, that old ancient Celtic way where none of the letters are pronounced right. May the serpent wake bellowing with the rising flame and beckoning the wisdom that awaits your return. Yeah, that's that whole memory of what you are, who you are. So she's got that crown on her head. There's like, yeah, this remembrance of who you are, what your purpose is. I'm feeling like this like soul memory vibe, such as realizing what your purpose is, what your magic powers are. Like one of my magical powers is I'm an empath, you know? I had an empathic moment with a person just today because I ran to the store to get, you know, Coca-Cola and caramellos because those are my thing. And the cashier was a cashier I've never met before, and they just told me that they were having a rough day, you know? And like in some circles and cultures, people are like, oh, you shouldn't just tell strangers if you're having a bad day. It's a rhetorical question. I'm not, if there's a sense of that somewhere, I'm not going to fall into that category. Like people are going to tell me what's really going on. And so sometimes I do the same. And then they usually look at me like, wow, overshare. And I'm like, oh, come on. So everybody does to me literally all the time. So anyway, this remembrance of what your powers are, what your soul abilities are, is coming through with that card. Dawn, number 18. Slow it down, move slower still. Become the witness, swelling in presence. Oh. So go with the flow. Don't worry about making anything happen. I feel like a lot of time, and with many of you, I feel like this is coming through, this sense of urgency of figuring out the answer before it's too late. And your guides want you to know that there's no too late. Everything's happening exactly and according to how it should be happening. So that is a message that they wanted you to hear. Oh, forged in fire. 21. Your strength was crafted through adversity and mastery only you behold. Oh my. Remember we were talking about the crystals like causing fires? Interesting. Lots of fire energy. So I feel like some of you are coming into touch with your fire. I feel like the memory is that you're a very, very powerful soul that can make things change through your strength, through your craft, through your even just witnessing things happening, through your wisdom, through all that. And your guides are trying to remind you that that is what is going on with you, that that's what you're here for, that that's what your purpose is, that that's what your strengths are. Let's get you some tarot. What did I just say? The High Priestess. Yep. Remembering your power, remembering your essence, remembering your skills. 4 of Cups. Don't miss out on what's being shown to you. Don't be sad and get mired down in the looking and miss something being handed right to you. Bam, yes. The good stuff is coming. I feel like you don't need to do, I feel like you've been kind of agonizing over like what you need to learn about yourself. And your guys are saying that's not even necessary because you've already got it. It's going to happen. There's no anything that you need to, I'm not seeing 7 of Wands. You need to step into this, friend. You know, there's none of that. It's like this is happening whether you like it or not, but you are going to like it. You are figuring out who you are. That past memory of who you are, you don't have it yet because it was probably like a past life. Yeah, the world. Like pre-birth destiny kind of thing. Yeah, no holding of yourself. We're not going to hold you back. You're not going to hold yourself back. You're going to move forward. So all that's happening with that worry is that it's not even holding you back. It's just a worry in your mind, and that's all it's even ever going to be. It's not even going to manifest into anything worse than that. So you might as well just let it go. You will take action when you need to take action, and you will do it well. You will know when to stop when you need to stop and wait. And have faith. And I feel like you do. I'm going to go ahead and let you go because I feel like that's pretty straightforward. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box, my friends. We shall see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Hi, group 3. So if you picked the little Dalmatian Jasper, let's talk about that. Because for some reason, messages are coming through with you guys' weird little, with your little rocks that came out and your little symbols. Okay. I don't know much about the actual properties of Dalmatian Jasper, and my computer's way over there, and I don't want to go get it. So, apparently you got an extra card. I'm going to put that right on top. I don't know where that came from, why that's there, but there it is. No, they still have all theirs. Okay, whatever. I don't know what just happened. I just found a whole extra card for you. Anyway, the meaning behind Dalmatian Jasper, I have no idea for sure if this is actually the Google or whatever meaning that we are going to look up and find if we were to look this up. I know that Jasper would be a grounding stone. So it would be connected more to your root chakra. So that part that I know, I would say that some of you, the memory that you have coming through, or the memory that could be affecting your learning right now, or however you want to look at it, whatever the message is connected to whatever memory that is connected to this reading, might have something to do with like your childhood and your very survival. Some of you might have had like one of those rough childhood type situations where you weren't taken care of the way that children normally should have. Maybe whether your parents were able to or were unwilling to. You might not have had enough food or enough shelter or enough safety, okay? And so that is coming through for some. For others, you might just be being told by your guides that you need to ground yourself. So just take some deep breaths, put your feet flat on the floor, uncross your legs, imagine roots coming out of your feet and going down to the core of the earth, pulling up golden earth energy up in through the bottoms of your feet, up around the back of your legs, up over the top of you, filling your belly, and just let it flow. And just let that happen. And so that way you are nice and grounded, and we can move forward, I think. Unless there's something else I need to know. Somebody's guide just said something to me, but I couldn't make it out. Okay, I will start with that extra card because I would have forgotten to do that. Let's start with your special card. The North Star 32. I am an embodiment of what I seek, walking with purpose while focused on my path. Oh my. I also just heard one of the guides say, you know exactly where you're going. Interesting. There's a little fox on top of their head. The North Star is like in her heart. Like she knows exactly where she's going. She doesn't even need a map or GPS. Oh my gosh, y'all. Speaking of GPS, I'm one of those people, even though I'm old, I didn't ever learn how to drive without GPS in a city. Okay. It's like I know how to operate a vehicle, but operating it in a city with cars and lights and those types of rules is a little bit hard for me. Anyway, my GPS was not helping me get to where I needed to go, and I had a comma part. So anyway, I feel like you're not one of those people. I feel like you know exactly where you're going. And the memory that you have, interesting. Okay, for some of you, it was a rough childhood. For others, I have this past life memory coming in where You actually were some kind of a ship captain. And this is going to sound very theatrical. I'm sorry. But they did exist. Where you went out in the frozen oceans looking for new stuff. And you might have gotten stuck out there. Never to be seen again. But you knew your ish. You knew how to get your people where they needed to go. You definitely knew how to get yourself where you needed to go. And I feel like if that was the case, your guides want to remind you that you still carry that entrepreneurial, explorative, grand expedition, adventurer, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what you would call that because I don't have it. But you do. Let's look and see what else is coming through for you interesting people in group 3. Find your night self. Yes. I feel like that's definitely coming through for those of you who have that expedition type soul energy, that past life energy. And see the little figure huddled down and sad. I feel like that's that child energy for those of you who didn't have a childhood that provided the things that a very basic human needs. Not just, oh, I didn't get the Game Boy I wanted. F that noise. We're talking about not enough heat, not enough hot water, no water at all, no power at all. Those kinds of feelings. No parents at all sometimes, for some maybe. There are others like you. And I feel like that past life energy that's coming through for those of you that were the captain of a ship going out where no one has ever gone before, and all you have is a map that says there might be some dragons out there. Have fun. My God, right? I feel like I just heard the name General Custer. Okay, say what you will about General Custer. Here's what I'm going to say about that person. I don't know if you ever looked up that person. He did a lot of damage. I'm going to say that first. Okay? But what is also interesting is the amount of damage that he did before he was killed when he was 36. And I'm not saying that you have anything to do with Custer. What I'm saying is that, I think about even where I was at 36. I'm yeah, I had a career and everything, and I was pretty established with what I was doing at that point in my life. Kicking butt and taking names, I guess you could say. But I sure as heck was now conquering an entire nation and, conquering it in the most brutal way possible and new ways that no one's ever conquered before. That is insane. And, to accomplish all of that, before you're even, or thinking about Joan of Arc, to accomplish all that before you're even 17, to the point where you're brutally killed because you upset people along the way. Okay. And I'm talking about both her and Custer. Custer more deserved than probably poor Joan of Arc. But that all being said, there's that past life energy of moving forward, and everybody else that's around you just kind of follows your lead. So when you get scared at night and need a mommy figure or a daddy figure to tell you what to do, who did you have? Nobody. Okay? So your guides are saying that there are others like you. If you have that spirit, it just doesn't always feel like it because you don't always need to have people around you to get stuff done, even though it would be nice to have that support. Interesting. That's an interesting message coming through. Okay. For those of you that had a rough childhood, I know it feels like you're the only one that went through that. It might feel like that because of the company that you keep. Maybe you have a lot of people around you who had very ideal childhoods, and you're remember how awesome it was when we were kids in the 80s and everything was perfect and they were being paid for us and it was great. And you're no, I actually remember my parents screaming at each other, and they were drunk, and the power got shut off all the time, and it was scary because we got eviction notices all the time, and I'd watch my parents freak out about yada, 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 that kind of energy, that sort of thing. Your guides are there to tell you that, not that you would wish that on your worst enemy, but you're not the only one who has experienced this type of life that you have. That type of like very, very rootless childhood of like not having any security, and that they just want you to know that. They also want you to know there's people out there in groups that you can speak to and find out that you aren't just, it's not just you that happened to. And for some, there might be some comfort in that. Honor your holy days, number 37. Interesting. I'm always going to say, if you don't know or have holy days already, make some. Decide which ones you want to have. I don't follow any of the ones I'm supposed to. When people find out I'm pagan, they're like, oh, are you doing anything during the moon cycle? And I'm like, not usually. Like, maybe sometimes, but not usually. You know, I'm not just cleaning crystals all day. I'm pretty boring. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. We have arts and crafts, number 5. Nothing exists without the essence of spirit. May it be whispers or chants. Your energy is what brings life to all that you create. Interesting. I was just saying, make your own holy days. That's definitely coming through. Aquarius, number 4. All are capable of dreaming, but as those who surrender to vision who are visionaries. Oh. Some of you have a vision you need to surrender to. Horned Owl 26. Become the shadow that watches, keeping quiet while moving intentionally. Oof, this is all very interesting, but I think I need some water, so you're going to have to wait. Sorry for the glare, but it's getting dark. Alrighty. So what I'm seeing with this one, with the arts and crafts, is I am seeing some memories of like doing arts and crafts when you're a little kid. That might just be a fond memory for some to give you confirmation that you're in the right group, but it could also just be maybe for some of you, it was a good place for you wherever you did your little arts and crafts growing up. Like I did them in church when I was growing up, but I also did them in school and wasn't any good at them. Anyway, yeah. But basically what I'm seeing and what your guides are trying to remind you of in that situation is that even when you weren't in your safe space, for those of you that had a rough childhood, your essence and your spirit is what got you through that. There wasn't anybody who saved you. They wanted you to know it was you. And you might already know that, and you might be saddened by that because you wanted somebody to come save you. But what they want you to know is that you don't need anyone to save you because you are fully capable of doing it yourself. I know that that's not always the most comforting feeling of like having to do everything yourself, but that is a message coming through for you nonetheless. I guess it's comforting in the sense that, you know, the bad stuff isn't going to happen to you. Right? Does that make sense? And I know bad stuff happens to everybody, and you've already been through some bad stuff, but do you see what I mean? Like the things that you're worrying about now are most likely not going to come to fruition, is what I'm hearing from your guides. Okay. For those of you who have that strange entrepreneurial exploration, past life memory that's trying to pop through, your guides are saying that's just the essence of who you are. Like, it doesn't matter what lifetime you're in, whether you're commanding a ship or you're commanding downtown Arby's. Strange. I haven't thought about Arby's in years. Oh my gosh, I used to love their curly fries so much back when I could eat food. Oh, so good. Ugh. Anyway, did you let me know if you liked those back in the day in the comments section if you care to. But anyway, your guys are saying that, like, regardless of if you're, running an ambulance crew, if you're, you know what I mean, from big to small, life and death to benign, you still have that commanding spirit. And your guys want you to remember that as you move forward in your life at this time. And that's the message coming through for you. With the Aquarius card, those of you that had a rough childhood and those of you who have that adventurous spirit, I'm just going to start calling you guys the past life crew and then the rough childhood crew, okay? Otherwise, it's going to take us all night, and I hate stumbling over words. The ships. Oh. Remember the ships in that first card? So they are again. Okay, just saying. Anyway, tricky guides. Your guides are showing you in the past life crew that even though I feel like because your life isn't as adventurous this time around, because, most of us aren't, just sailing into the unknown, just woo, I have no idea what's going to be over there. Even if you're a ship captain, you still have a pretty good idea of what's going to be there, waiting for you when you get out there in the water. To an extent, you at least know what continents are coming towards you, right? Your guides are saying that you still have that essence inside of you. The dreams that you have are still relevant and important to your soul. For those of you that had a rough childhood, they are saying that you're not ruined because of the trauma that you sustained. And that's something that all survivors of trauma feel, is this feeling of like being somewhat broken, or you're just not the same person you were before. You're not going to be the same person now that you would have been if it hadn't happened, those kinds of things. And your guides are saying you still have the ability and the vision to move forward, to complete your destiny, even with the setbacks of that trauma, and possibly even in part because of the harsh lessons of that trauma. Because everything happens for a reason, even the hard things. So the same thing happened with the last group. It was like this feeling of needing to take action, needing to go, figure stuff out. Why am I here? What am I doing? Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Am I running out of time? Am I blah, 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 blah. I do it too. Your guides are also throwing out there for both of the types of people in this group that you need to chill and just keep, when to move with intention, okay? You worry that you sit and wait too long, but that's not something you need to worry about, is what your guides are saying with this card for either of the types of people in this group. They're saying to just keep watching. And then when you know it's time to move, that's when you move, okay? And just trust yourself. Let's get you some tarot. Nine of Cups. Excellent. The World. Seven of Cups. Page of Cups. We'll get to Page of Pentacles in a second. Okay. Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. So you're going to have your wishes fulfilled even with setbacks that you've had, okay? Even though you're not conquering or exploring and discovering as much as you were in your past life, your guides are saying that you have the ability and the initiative to get the things that you want in this life in just as an impressive manner, okay? Just in a different time scale, All right. Any struggles that you're having, that cycle is coming to an end. You're embarking now into this new cycle of very, 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 very nice, wonderful things. Okay. New opportunities opening up, right? Good friends, enjoyment, being filled with like childhood wonder, getting good news, the start of something wonderful and lucrative and fun and satisfying. Okay, I'm feeling this. Being rewarded for your hard work. Having abundance and love coming towards you. Just going slow and steady once again, like being an observer and just moving at your own pace. There's no rush. Your guides really are hammering that home, so be sure to listen to them. And I feel like, yeah, you're being harsh on yourself. Like, be kind to yourself. You have all the strength you need to move forward. Change is coming, but it's the good kind of change. Remember that ending is coming through, but it's to open up all this new awesome energy. 8 of Wands, lots of fast moving, positive, inspiring change. You have all the tools you need to be a success, and you can trust your intuition. Your guides are guiding you. This is all part of the plan. You are healing. You don't have to fear the future. You can trust yourself. And with that, I shall leave you. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. My friends, we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi, group 4. So if you picked the coffin nail pendulum, then let's go ahead and get into... Oh yeah, the messages for the coffin nail. So the coffin nail is all about protection. It's also about transformation, all the usual death stuff, but I like the protection element of it. I also like the, there's an element of fate involved with it. Like that nail was fated for that coffin, right? That kind of deal. We talk about coffin nails in like a metaphorical sense, especially back when everybody smoked cigarettes, right? That kind of thing. It's also traditionally made of iron, so there is some strength stuff going on here. And then for those of you that are getting some past life or past life memory vibes in your reading, which everybody kind of has gotten some of that in these today, I'm going to go ahead and say that some of you in this group are giving me vibes of the old Wild West in North America. And then I'm also getting the vibe of like Victorian. I'm hearing England, and then I'm also feeling like New York, Boston kind of feeling. You know, the eastern side of the United States where things were developing faster during the late 1800s. Interesting. Okay. And there's something about somebody has a memory of a grandma or a mother who was able to like do really, really tight weaves or sew or do something with string. So that's some confirmation that you're in the right place if you relate to that. We have 38 in the vastness of it all. Interesting. So maybe I feel like live in the mountains. Like the mountains, like the snow gets deep. Deep snow. I feel like those of you that are getting a past life message from the Wild West, that you were an explorer of the mountains way back in the day. Way back in the day, before anybody even knew anybody had seen those mountains. Because they were like, we didn't know those mountains existed. You know, unless they already lived there. We all already know what happened that way. But in any event, that's what I'm feeling for some of the past life. The others, like from the Victorian crew in like the Eastern United States, and then some England vibes. There's something about that red ribbon. Tell me in the comments if you like to take little things and want to do this to make them bigger. Because I'm like, what is that? What am I looking at there? It looks like a bee, but that makes no sense because the trees look snowy. I heard a guide say that somebody passed away right before the dawn of some kind of a new age. So like, you know, like it comes to mind things like there were people who knew that they were on the verge of like curing some horrible disease. But then, you know, certain people, including the people studying the disease, could have passed away from that same disease before they actually found that cure. I'm feeling that kind of vibe for the Victorian crowd. So that would be like the Victorian crowd that are in the city, not the Wild West Victorian crowd. Because I'm getting the like late 1800s for both. Okay. Other memories, spirit? Is it just past life at this point? With the coffin nail. I'm feeling like that feeling of, you know, that toughness of needing to be strong. There's also that toughness and frailty of like knowing that life is so short. People were understanding so much during that time and learning at such a rapid rate. But they were still dying very young and in large numbers and from things people couldn't explain or control. And it was like being on the verge of getting those things under control, not quite getting there. It's like healthcare keeps coming into my mind. It's like not just exploration, but like healthcare, like doctors back then studying and trying to learn as fast as they can. Studying lots of like passed away people. Interesting crew. There's one who watches over you. There's a guide with blonde hair, kind of ashy blonde hair. Or maybe you have ashy blonde hair, but I feel like there's a story there. That either that's like what a guide looked like or looks like who watches over you, or your hair looks like that and your guides are telling you there's somebody watching over you. You also have the spirit of the owl. We also have our little owl totem lately, or our anchor, I mean. I always call it a totem. I'm such a dork. Hi. Yes, hello. I don't know if you could hear Sullivan saying hello. We're almost done, buddy. We're on group 4. Punk Dot Booty. Can you hear me panking his booty? He's a big kitty. Yeah, he likes having his flank spanked like a puppy dog. You're a good boy. Okay. Whew. So yeah. I'm like, what's the message of this memory? Like, other than just like, maybe you're just curious about past life memories. But yeah, other than this memory of like just passing away before you get a chance. Okay, I hear you now. Thank you. in the past, you passed away before you were able to do as much as you wanted to do, but you were on such a verge of finding it. Like maybe if you're in the Wild West crowd, you were very much on the verge of finding your fortune, and somebody like, unalived you right to your face and stole your money, or stole your land, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Or you got sick right before, or a hard winter got you before you could make it to your destination. With the Victorian crew, it's like some kind of illness took you out before they realized, or some type of drug interaction that they now know is bad. Some form of travel that's safer now because it's like easier to get to and fro faster and farther without dying as often. That's the energy that's coming through. And I feel like what's bleeding over into this life is this idea of you're not going to be able to accomplish what you want again in this life. Okay, thank you, Spirit. I understand now. Oh, we have The Truth Comes Softly, number 36. That's funny because I feel like we just got to the truth of the matter of what this reading was even about. I was like, I don't know what is happening here. Yeah, there's a reason why you didn't get to accomplish what you wanted in that past life. And none of it has to do with you being a failure or that you weren't measuring up in some way. And that if you don't do something radically different in this life, that you're doomed to repeat the same old life stuff. That is something your guides want you to chuck bye-bye into the goodbye trash can. Put it in the trash compactor or whatever they use to compost rubbish back in the 1800s. I have no idea because I'm not that much of a history buff, that's for sure. That is for sure. What's funny though is that I believe I now live in a place that I lived in the Old West and died at least once or twice. And now I'm here again. And I'm like, why? Why am I here? What is happening? I thought it was because I was supposed to be a teacher, but apparently that was only supposed to happen for 13 years. And now I'm supposed to do something else, and I don't know what. Because sitting in my house and reading cards seems pretty silly, but here I am doing that. And that's not much else. Going to the doctor, lots and lots. The truth comes softly. Your guides want you to know, the transformation that you seek has nothing to do with you failing and getting your just desserts or being punished in some way for failing. It is just part of your natural progression. So like anything that didn't get accomplished in that past life, that unfinished business feeling that you feel, please know that most souls don't get to finish everything that we wanted to do. It's just, our survival instincts kind of drive us forward, always looking for the next thing, always wanting to grow into something better, And so your guides really want you to put down the cat o' nine tails on yourself, on thinking that you didn't progress far enough because you didn't do the right thing. This is all, even if you did something regrettable, like I have past life memories where I murdered people. I don't remember the murthers themselves. I just remember in the past life memory that I had done that and what was guilty about it, etc. and so forth. Like haunted my every waking moment. I've had dreams like that too. So like, I don't think I'm a bad person now because of that back then. And I don't feel like because I did that back then that I have to pay for it now. I feel like I learned what I did and then will atone for it or have already atoned for it in some other form. Okay. I don't believe in like being punished for all eternity, and I don't believe in that kind of thing. And so I feel like that message is also coming through from your guides. This is not about failure or about big mistakes, even if there was a big, huge mistake. And I don't even feel like you were as bad of a cookie as I was back in the Old West, my friends. I was naughty, as far as I can remember. You, I feel like, actually had your heart in the right place in both of these past life scenarios. And I feel like illness, and just the times just took their toll. An infection or a toothache or an earache could take you out. You know what I mean? And I feel like your soul was evolved to the point where it knew it was going to live in the modern age, and possibly it just drank in the brutality and the unfairness of like how easily lives could have been saved if we would have just known a little bit more information or just had this certain thing, right? Blowing my mind here, group 4. Okay, we have garlic number 22. Interesting. It is unwise to walk beyond the boundaries you have yet to expand on. Protection among all else. My goodness. Okay, so that's a little warning. I know that sometimes when we find out about our past lives, that we want to learn more. We get very curious. We want to know all the stuff, right? But remember how I was talking about how like some of the stuff I did in my past life in the Wild West was not that cool? And it might make me feel less cool about myself now, okay? There are things you might not want to remember or that you're not ready to remember yet. Just go at a slow pace. I'm also feeling this vibe of some of you maybe like in a situation that I'm kind of in where like you literally live in areas where you can go out in any direction and be in very ancient wilderness in a very short amount of time, where you could very easily perish and nobody would find you. Good times. And your guides are actually kind of warning you, if you go exploring, to be very careful of like holy lands or like Native American or Indian type lands, because I feel like you might stumble onto something that's a very specific warning to somebody to be very careful about what boundaries you cross. Don't go stumbling into any ancient graveyard kind of situations. Hello. Okay. Somebody had a spirit of a cat come in just now to say hi here with Sullivan. Yes, you're a good kitty. Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry, he's got a hold of me. Okay. Boundaries you have yet to expand on. Protection among all else. There's this other message coming through. It's kind of strange. There's like medicines and things that we have now that weren't available to us back then. I feel like there's just a little sliver of a message in there for some that you have to be like reminded of that. Like I had parents that needed to be reminded. They acted like you like couldn't go to a dermatologist if like you weren't rich. Okay. And I realized we probably had cruddy insurance, but like I go to a dermatologist now if I need to. I mean, give me a flipping break. Like, because my gosh, when you're allergic to as much stuff as I am, you got to go to a dermatologist sometime, or you're just going to be an itchy, bumpy mess for the rest of your life. And that's just a fact. Sullivan gets rashes as well. So anyway, your guides are saying to lean into some of those modern remedies is coming through for some of you with that card for some reason. But I feel like there's like some kind of a door opening for somebody who's watching this right now. And your guides are saying to be careful. Of course, it's a big, magical, wonderful world out there. There's all kinds of things to explore. One of the things I don't really lecture this to people, but one of the facts about me is that like I've been aware of magic since like 1997. Right? Like when I like realized it wasn't like the same thing as Satanism, right? So anyway, that's a long time between then and now. That's like 26 years, right? Or more, 20, 27, 28 years. And I've only ever really done like maybe a dozen spells on myself. And maybe only a dozen spells collectively on other people. And it's not because I don't want to do stuff. Well, sometimes it is because I don't want to do stuff, but it's because I want to be careful and I want to save my juice because I feel like we only get so much. Okay. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not true. Maybe we're infinite and that's what we need to believe. But that's just an example. So like your guys are saying to watch your boundaries. Like if you're going to like jump into some like magic doing, just really, really read up on the dangers and how to protect yourself and find a system that works for you, etc. and so forth. Moving on. Winter Woodlands, number 44. Take time to honor what you feel. Self-compassion is the healing balm you desire. I feel like some of you with that past life energy, that me talking about me being not that good of a person back when I was alive in the Wild West, that some of you might need to forgive yourselves about certain things that happened back in the day. Back in that past life. It could just be forgiving yourself for not accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish, right? Forgive yourself for not being wise enough. Forgive yourself for, I don't know if you're like me, where like if somebody like victimized you in another life that you think, oh, I was so dumb, I should have done a better job like not getting murdered, or like that kind of thing. Like you feel like silly, like you lost a game, like you weren't as smart as the other player kind of deal. Your guys want you to forgive yourself for that. And they want you to forgive yourself now for not always knowing what to do. Because we don't, that's part of the score. Like even if we knew what to do, we wouldn't know what to do. We don't get to know. Does that make sense? Okay, let's keep going. Greenhouse number 23. May it be clear the intention I sow in preparation for the path ahead. Okay, some of you are gardeners. Some of you are little greenhouse keepers during the long winter and you grow up your little garden to keep yourself sustained. So that's just a little extra message for some of you that you're in the right spot still. For others, your guides are saying you're doing enough to prepare for what you need to know in your courses ahead of you. So you are learning exactly what you need to know about your past life at exactly the speed that you need to be doing. So let's get you some tarot. Oh, I'm tired. Oh my goodness. Okay, lots of fast moving, positive, inspiring, passionate change. Victory, my friends. Lots of self-discovery coming towards you. See, I feel like you just needed to hear this from your guides. Like that you're not holding yourself back. Usually the devil is like a card about holding yourself back. But like this chick is not holding herself back at all. Right? See what I'm saying? I feel like you are stepping into your own little dominion. Keep on going. Four of Cups. Yeah, don't miss what's right in front of you by pining for what you might not have accomplished in your past. There's that sense of feeling like we didn't do enough. And it's just something that holds over from our past life energy. It's the same pesky little energy that comes in and messes with us when we have like a connection with another person and we go, oh, why is there a connection there? Is that my person forever? But really it's just some person who like murdered you in a past life, you know, sorry. And you know, you should stay very far away from them. That kind of thing. Don't miss out on what you're actually supposed to be seeing because you're pining for what you think you didn't see. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Yes, you see the truth. You're going to be okay. You have the knowledge. You have the skills. Oh, okay. Don't worry about the pain of the past finding you. It's not what this lesson is about in this life. See how surely she's juggling these things? Like she's got it all together. I don't have the sense of like needing to set something down like I get with the Two of Pentacles sometimes. I feel like your guides are saying you will get what you needed from that past life that you didn't have all of the finished business, finished with this life. And that's why you feel that anxiety of making it happen, is because you do feel that you recognize the importance of that in this life. Okay, we have the Lovers. I need some clarification on that one. And the Eight of Cups. Some of you have a lover from your past who's going to come forward. That's why I brought up that past life energy. I feel like your guides are kind of warning you not to slip back into past patterns with past souls who are still trying to evolve as well. But you both kind of not failed, but like didn't get to where you wanted to go in the last life together. They want you to not mistake that for this life. Okay, what else? Trust your intuition, for it is strong at this time. You will find the person that you're supposed to be with if you have not found them yet. That's another confirmation of that. You are on the right track. You have balance, or you're at least on your way to balance. Okay, and with that, I shall leave you. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. Thank you, group 4. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.